House of the Dragon Season 1, Episode 2. It was like a tease of the dance. Spoilers up ahead. Right? What are you... Welcome back to AsArt. My name is Nick and I have Kyle with me. And just to clarify, when I meant the dance of the dragons. Thank you, Kyle, for the clarification. By the way, Kyle has an amazing Instagram. Go check him out, Pecos with the Zero, and subscribe to get all the updates here right after the episode. Okay, we're just going to jump right into... Oh, by the way, we cover tons of other shows. Woo, thumbnails all around. All right. I want to jump into this because I'm happy that it was just like heavy story building. It wasn't like we had a battle or anything like that. It was a nice tease. Mm-hmm. We got a tease with the dragons on the face-off on the bridge and everything. I really liked the tension that was building there. And
a lot of politics.
Yes, very good politics. And we see how Hightower's being really smart with his, like sending his... Is it Hightower?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Yes. The
sending
Hand of the King
his daughter, Alicent in, and it was just like smart Game of Thrones planning and stuff like that. So it was really fun episode. One other thing I want to say is crab people. You watch South Park, you might know that reference, but
I only know that reference. That's about it. And maybe the Dr. Chaos, the Ninja Showdown.
Yes. Yeah. But that crab people, I just had to when they kept saying Crab King, or was it Crab King? Okay.
It's like the crab, the crab
Lord
breaker, something,
the breaker of crabs.
We're gonna probably hear his name a lot next episode, so
Okay, so this was a really good story, and I did some searching, so I guess they have different actors playing because we're going to see the character's age.
Yes.
Which I'm kind of bummed because I'm kind of getting attached to these actors.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm getting really attached, so, but they're not changing Doctor Who, so.
Right. Well, actually, yeah, that's true. Maybe it's because, when you're like in a teenage, when you're a teenager, like you kind of change still, from childhood. So, when you're like an adult, you just get more wrinkly. So it's easier for them to do that in makeup, but a lot harder to do with like someone growing up. So like right now, Millie Alcock is the current Rhaenyra, right? And then I guess Emma D'Arcy is going to be the one like in her like 30s kind of, or something around that. Yeah.
Because we did a 6-month jump already.
We did
which
already.
Which was pretty intense from what I'm used to for the Game of Thrones kind of.
It's Game of Thrones Cliff Notes style.
Or it's the last couple seasons of Game of Thrones, because I felt like we were really jumping through time.
Right. Same. Yeah. And like, that's the thing. I think like now that we've established the time difference and like how it takes to get to places. Yeah. The fact that they were already in Dragonstone in the same episode is fine, right? Like, I mean, because we've already established, I mean, your first shots are kind of crucial in determining like how you want to convey distance. Yes. Right. So, I think they did that.
Yeah, I was fine with. But one thing we got to talk about is the opening sequence. Did you like it? The title sequence.
So at first I didn't know what it was until I looked at his model that he was making. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's what I thought it was. Right? So is it based off the model on his table?
Yeah. And like also it looks like, and that's something that I had forgotten about from the books, but like old Valyria, like they had their dragon, they were the Targaryens were the dragon lords, but there's also blood magic involved. Oh. With the rituals. So I think that's something that's been lost, or at least so far that we think.
That's why we have the blood.
Yes, okay. Exactly. And notice how all the blood drains into that dragon pit of the Targaryen emblem, right? So.
I just had like, the streets will run red with Burgundy's blood. That's what I like, man, kind of right. like because I'm guessing it's going to be a very Civil War.
Yes, this is going to be the Dance of the Dragons. This is what the war is going to be called.
We got a teaser for it.
Yep.
Beautiful shots, by the way. I just want to say that was incredible.
Very beautiful.
The clouds and then the golden dragon and the red dragon or the yellow dragon. Yeah.
When you saw the clouds move before I was like I audibly went, oh shit, like something's coming. Right?
He dropped the dragon egg.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, At first, I was so confused about who he was talking or who they were convincing the king into marrying. I was so confused at first because I was like, Targaryen, like who's his age? Like I was trying to think of like,
Yeah.
And then when it didn't connect with me until I saw them walking. What was happening, and I was like, oh
really?
Yeah, because I was
interesting. Okay,
I was like, who's that?
Okay.
What? I don't understand. And then at first I don't know why I was just like not comprehending that whole dialogue sequence, because at first I thought he was going to pass his daughter off to be married.
Yeah,
and I thought that's what I thought was happening at first, because I know he had two sons. Well, he had a son and a daughter at the fighting jousting thing. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's the sons and the daughters, and they're gonna make little dragon children rider things.
Yeah.
But whoa, I was feeling a little awkward.
So like that's the thing. Now we know that like in the original Game of Thrones series, George R.R. Martin referenced a lot of medieval, like politics and like certain how things were back then, for like the War of the Roses and stuff like that,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
I think it was either the 100 Years' War or the War of the Roses.
I think it was both, depending on what stories they were following.
So like the thing is like, I mean, I was like, oh crap, I'm like, geez, she's 12, holy crap. And then I'm like, medieval politics.
Yeah.
Like you were a woman a lot earlier. Like you had to grow up a lot faster, especially if you were a lady in the court, right?
And how old was Daenerys when she got married in Game of Thrones?
She was like, so
she
in
was
the
like
books,
12,
she was
right?
like 4. I thought she was like 14.
Okay, she was like 14. So she was also
I
really
could
young.
be wrong. I could be wrong.
But she was very young too, right? Like,
yeah,
that was
still,
the
yeah,
idea
like when you're reading, you're like, oh geez.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. I just wanted to make sure. Oh, okay. So some things I just have to point out. What was up like their dinner table when the king and his daughter were eating? Were they eating in his room?
No, they're probably
because the model was right there. The
I know
model
for a
was
fact
right
they
there.
weren't eating it. Wait, what's up?
I thought I saw the model of his toy
I didn't
model.
see
That's
the
what I
model,
was like.
so that's why
just
it
eating
made
in
me
the
think.
bedroom. Huh?
Yeah, that's what led me think they weren't, because I didn't notice if it was in the. I didn't see the model that he's working on.
But I think the table he was sitting on was the table he was at when Hightower came in with like, oh, I have news that the High Council has to tell you. You have to come with me. I think that was the same table they were having dinner on. But anyways, I was just like,
okay,
everything just happens in the king's room.
Yeah. I can't get a wink of sleep. I dine, build models, and poop all in the same room.
And I bleed my own blood off the chair. Okay, I don't know where
with
I'm
that
going.
grayscale.
Oh, yes, by the way, we had
a scene with the maggots.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so we had an awesome comment.
Yep.
We did a TikTok video, which was a clip.
I feel that's right on the spot. Yeah.
We did a TikTok video, which was a clip of our longer video, which we do here on YouTube. And we had an amazing comment right away saying, I think it's grayscale. I'm like, oh my gosh, that even crossed my mind. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for the comment.
It's a good thing we've got a maester in the comments.
I mean, that was spot on. Even the little piece, like not piece, but poofy, greasy, like pus that was coming off like the cut and everything. I'm like, oh, that is grayscale, because I remember that scene from Game of Thrones when he had to take like each one off.
Yeah, that's
Sam. No, not Sam. Was his name Sam? Just like Sam?
No. It was the Knight at Arms, Ser.
No, but
whatever.
No, the guy who took off each dragon scale. Was it Sam?
Oh, I can't remember.
It's like the Sam character.
My memory's shot. I tried to block out so much.
And and then it was so interesting too, because there was that scene where they were talking about how like, oh, men will always be on the throne and stuff like that. Like they will never take kindly to a woman, sitting on the throne. And then I had a process in my head. I'm like, I don't, maybe I'm wrong just from the way I remember Game of Thrones. I feel like Cersei took the throne so easily and quickly in Game of Thrones. Like they weren't even like batting like.
So yeah. So that's the thing, is that like I think that because of Rhaenyra, right?
Oh.
It's the beginning of a precedent of like sort of turning, because like things don't like sometimes things happen to the flip of a hat, and then sometimes things are a slower process with like a lot of conflict.
Okay.
And I think Rhaenyra's conflict kind of gets in the minds of people like, maybe it'd be all right to have a woman ruler, you know?
That
But they're not
possibility
ready.
can work someday in the future where it's not our problem kind of thing. Like they keep pushing it off kind of to the next generation.
Wow, that's very insightful, Nick.
And then, so a huge twist because he denies the marriage of the 13-year-old. I can't remember the 13-year-old girl.
She's 12.
12. I can't remember
Yeah.
her name, but so the king denies the marriage, and now her father, who I can't remember his name either, is trying to make alliances now. Do you want to?
Sorry.
Do you want to explain that better than me?
First off, do you mean Corlys Valerian?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So
What about him?
He's making a new alliance now. He's kind of going behind the king's back.
Yeah, he's going to Daemon, right? Daemon, because and I gotta say, he makes a convincing argument about the whole second sons sort of thing, right?
Something to bond over.
They're going to be what I call the action team. They're going to want to strike hard and fast and deal with the sword and fire, right? Because, I mean, Viserys the First, right, the current king, has always been a sort of like feasting, kind of like, hey, let's all have a good time. I just want peace in our time, you know? Unfortunately, there are several people, there's Corlys and Daemon who are like, yo, you gotta keep in the reins, all right? Like, you gotta keep people in line.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he really didn't want to be king, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of forced into it. Like that's.
It's like, well, I'd rather not. Right?
if no one else is going to do it.
Grandpapa wishes. Yeah.
Oh, and they also said something very interesting too. He rode a dragon before it died.
Yeah. So I think it was. Oh crap!
It was like an old big dragon, right?
Yeah, from Old Valyria.
But like because he was the last to ride it, did that like put a curse on him or something?
Why do you mean?
I don't know, because it seems like his life is falling apart at this point. You know what I mean? Like
he's like, I think that's of his own choosing.
Okay, so you don't think like there's some kind of thing like if you were the last to ride a dragon before he died, like
right? Yeah. Some sort of curse. I'm trying. Okay. One sec here.
A few moments later.
We also had some more fun comments, which I'm not going to put here on TikTok, on warning us to not get attached to the dragons.
Okay.
I don't know what that means, but I would, if Kyle says it's wise, I would heed the warning. I guess it's kind of like the dire wolves. Don't get attached.
Moments later.
Oh. So it was the Black Dead, Balerion.
Okay.
Which is, the last dragon from Old Valyria. Except I guess though crap. Now I forgot his daughter's name.
10 seconds later.
Lady Laena.
Mm-hmm.
She mentioned that Daemon's dragon is technically also from Old Valyria, but we didn't get anything else on that. So
because they're from Old Valyria, does that mean they're like larger? Or are they just more like toughened? Or
well, that's the thing. I think now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that skull in the crypt was Balerion, the Black Dread, right?
So he rode him.
Yeah, so like he was huge, like massive, like dragons from Old Valyria. Like you think of them like pedigree, pets, right? Hard to believe that for a fire breathing, scaled entity, but and now what we're dealing with is their descendants of that. So how we always kind of idealize the past in that sense, right? So like the emperors of Rome, right? Sort of deal, like, and also you get the sense similar to Tolkien's universe in that Old Valyria was a greater age and we're now in a lesser age, right? That the world is actually decaying, right? Things in the past were more opulent. Now it's less so, right? Because it's less ideal, sort of thing, right?
Living on the past.
Yeah, like in Lord of the Rings, like Numenor.
Numenor
right?
was the golden age for humans, and then the elves were on the other side with the trees. And
so Valyria is that glory.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Valyria is that glory that they can never return to.
Because it's been washed out by the sea. By the way, guys, we're going to be covering the Lord of the Rings series here. So if you're into fantasy and stuff like that, subscribe because we're going to be covering it here on AsArt. Any other things that stood out to you in this episode, Kyle?
Well, so the thing is, for Rhaenyra, I like that we're starting to see her like she's trying to get into the political game, right? But she's got all these other people naysaying, right? I actually really love the scene between her and Otto Hightower when they're selecting the new like Knights Guard, right? And she's like, I want someone with legit combat experience, not someone who's been in tourneys, right? And he's, and the one she was going to choose had like fought in a campaign for a year and was a foot soldier and stuff and like knew combat. And I was like, that's a sound choice. But then Otto came at her with like political stuff, right? It's like, look, there are several of these people here that would be strength, like, we would have strength and ties to them if we chose them as this. So they were like, I felt they were both valid arguments, right? Like Rhaenyra values competency, right? Yeah. And Otto is like, look, we got to play the game. And Rhaenyra is like, I don't want to play the game.
She wants action.
Yeah, she wants action.
Which is interesting.
I kind of like that.
And then like the vibes I'm getting from Hightower is like the Lannister's dad. What was the dad's name? Tywin. I'm kind of getting his vibes where he's like willing to sell his children out for more political gain.
Oh, he knows the game. He knows the medieval game. All right.
But like certain movements he's making, I'm like, oh, that's something the Lannisters would have done, or like the father. And I was just like, yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like even last episode where he suggested his daughter go comfort the king. I'm like, oh, he's trying to make a play. Yeah.
Big time
to have the next queen. Because, that's the thing. In medieval society, if you're a father with a bunch of daughters, you marry them out. Try to make a killing on the dowry.
That's what you do, right? For land. Yeah. Like that's what you do to combine wealth and share wealth and all the rich stay rich.
It was a rich man's game back then. It's a rich man games now.
So one thing that's really interesting about the pacing in the show, one thing I really enjoyed about the original Game of Thrones was jumping around all over the place. Really exploring Westeros. We would be in the north. We would be in the highlands, the midlands, the grasslands. We would go over the seas to the Dothraki and
the left lands, the right lands.
Yeah, but like you're like, you're in the wetlands, the dry lands, the swamp lands. All the different lands all over the place.
All the lands.
But it was so much fun moving around. Where I feel like maybe once the battles start happening and people have to gain alliances with other people and battles will be fought here and there and spies and all that. Maybe we'll get more of that, but I really like that of Game of Thrones where it's like even the idea like you show the map and they did that just for us. So we know where everything was because we were moving around all over the place. It's like, thank you, we need that. And when they added a new,
always reminding us.
And every time they added someone, or if that person died or got lost, they just got rid of it. Moved it off the. Moved it. It was
shown smoldering in ruins on the map.
I think they did that with Winterfell, huh? It was all beat up and stuff, right? Like after the sack and all that stuff. So I'm enjoying the show. I have high hopes for this show. I honestly think it's going to be better than the Lord of the Rings show, but I still want to cover the Lord of the Rings show because I know how much money was thrown at it, and I'm just curious what the Rings of Power, even though there's a lot of issues and stuff behind that show, but I'm very curious to see what they're going to put out and what the money was put towards.
As am I.
Let's read some comments from the last episode.
All right. Okay, so I'll just read them in order.
Oh, perfect.
From how we curated them. So Nightingale 19 says his back looks like grayscale. This is the comment. This came from TikTok.
Okay.
And that was that's our maester right there.
Thank you so much. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you for identifying that imaginary disease. And then Angel of Bliss says, only hoping the character's comments about the people don't want one thing over another is just foreshadowing the character's folly and misunderstanding. Personal truth versus actual truth. The politics are introverted and ego. I hope. Right? That's true. So that's actually very true. So we're getting a really like narrowed lens on like King's Landing, right? And now Dragonstone, right? It's just been the nobility, right? We haven't gotten people of more common stock yet.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of entering the mix. So we don't get that vantage yet.
I mean,
so
it's true.
Who knows? Maybe that might be a mechanism that Angel of Bliss is talking about.
Yeah. I mean, that was what was cool when Arya went off on her own. Because she wasn't, involved in the politics or anything like that. She was literally like on the foot, like on the ground level,
in the dirt,
getting her hands dirty,
getting her fleas.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. So moving on to Alyssa Casanovas, I am curious about this prophecy that was passed down that Viserys mentions to Rhaenyra, Song of Ice and Fire. We know that it is Jon, but what does that mean? And also, they mention the prince that was promised.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's another one.
So this is something I believe they were just putting into the show. This wasn't in the books. Like the idea, like it was passed down through the Songs of Ice and Fire, wasn't like passed down through the Targaryen lines. I think it was just a way for them to connect to the original series. Even though we're not going to be in the North, we're not going to see the Wall. We're not going to see White Walkers. We're not going to see dire wolves. We're not going to see giants, and we're not going to see Starks probably.
I mean, it could be one of those because in the opening Chiron of the first episode, right, we see that this is 100 and such years before Daenerys, right, before the events. Yeah,
it's like 200
so it's like
years,
maybe
right?
it could be one of those mechanisms, right?
Yeah.
Dwight Mann. As a casual Game of Thrones fan, I enjoyed this episode. You can see what they're trying to do, keeping it noob friendly for those who didn't even watch Game of Thrones series. But after saying that a lot of things looked cheap and rushed, sweaty smiley face, like the dragon helm the guy was fighting in, lol, looked so cheap, like a 3D printed cosplay, but not the worst show to watch. Thinky face. That would be She-Hulk. And then crying laughter face. I keep on forgetting you're going to put these up on the screen after the edit.
Totally so I
don't know why I described
the
faces.
You can keep doing that. It's so entertaining.
Okay.
I think that has to speak for visual effects just overall. I just think visual effects artists are stretched. With She-Hulk, I mean, look at every show is basically a high budget movie. If you go back to the biggest VFX movies out there, like Jurassic Park was huge, right? And like the dinosaur, there was like 25 VFX shots, like just all fully VFX shots. Where now, I mean, there's like probably over 500 just in this one episode. You know what I mean?
I gotta say, now I don't know how old Dwight Mann is, right? But I mean, I remember a time. You and I remember a time, Nick. Before all the streaming service and visual effects and stuff, believe when I say, all you young audience out there, this is the golden age. We've never had it so good. It's amazing. Like every it's like a candy shop and everything is delicious.
Yeah.
Right.
But now they're charging for everything separately.
Right. And now they've kicked up the prices because
going back
inflation.
To cable. Yeah. No, and it might be going back to cable pretty soon.
Yeah. Just rebranded. It's cable rebranded.
Slap a new sticker on it.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, moving on to Adventures in Portland. Ooh, sounds exciting.
Welcome back.
First episode of House of the Dragon was promising. Dragons weren't comped quite as well as the later Game of Thrones seasons, but they probably don't have quite that budget yet. I think that's an opt point.
And
I think it's.
I think the color's different too. They're popping more. And I think they're trying to make it more book related. So, I mean, I think over time they'll probably find a good balance with it too. Because think about it, we didn't really see dragons until maybe the third season when we actually see them at this size or getting larger.
And I forget if we mentioned it last episode, but those three dragons from the original Game of Thrones looked pretty homogenous. They looked, aside from their coloring, they were pretty similar.
Yeah.
And here we're getting distinct physical differences, right? Especially when you see the two like where Rhaenyra is flying her dragon, and then we see Daemon's dragon perched. You can definitely see their differences. Like Daemon's dragon has this huge long neck, like it's some sort of weird brontosaurus snake thing, right? And it has wings on its hindquarters, right? And it's got this really cool red color. It makes a certain, even their vocalizations are slightly different. It's got this interesting, squeaky wail to it. And then, Rhaenyra's is yellow, looks more
golden,
more
almost.
streamlined.
Yeah. Golden,
kinda
streamlined.
golden,
Yeah.
Dreamfire, I think her name is.
Oh, that's dude, great
dragon's
memory.
name?
Yeah, I think it is Dreamfire.
Dreamfire, yeah.
Or is that where the egg came from? The egg came from.
You might
Dreamfire.
be right. Yeah, the egg. Yeah. You know what? I don't know, Nick. I'm just kind of seat of my pants here right now. Let me hear it in comments, folks. Let me have it. No,
literally, I just want to let you guys know. As soon as the episode's done, we hit record and we just talk. So
we do. No, like I tried writing stuff in my notebook, and I'm like, I can't see in this darkness. And I just threw it away. Okay, so last comment. This comes from TikTok from Akim Chua 03. I thought that was awesome. A revelation that Targaryen rulers knew about the long winter.
Yes. ... So this goes back to me being a little angry that they horned in that whole prophecy and everything like that. Like that was the one thing I was like ticked about. But I get it though, right? Because then it's adding more like backing and value to the idea, like, oh, that's why they came to Westeros. It was because of a vision to save it. That's why they took power, kind of thing. Like it's not like they're evil tyrants now. It's like
some sort of
putting some rose color glasses on, right?
Yeah,
like
they're no longer renegade tyrants from a destroyed empire, right? They're now saviors.
Yeah, exactly. Like
brought by a prophetic
we're gonna burn
vision.
you if you don't listen to us, but trust me, us burning you at the and killing you all will save you.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'll freeze to death in the long winter.
Well, thank you guys so much. If you're still here, that's amazing. Give us a comment or a thumbs up if you made it to this far in the video. Go follow Kyle on Instagram, Pecos with the 0. And then go to AsArt.space for all the audio video links and get our cool shirts, Raised by Wolves. #save Raised by Wolves. Great HBO Max show that we would love back or on a different streaming service because we want to see what's going to happen.
We're not choosy.
To Mother. We do not want to leave her trapped. If you know, you know. All right. I'll see you on the next AsArt.
You know who you
such
are.
A clean ending, right?
It's like, all right.
Okay. All right.